Well, how are you this evening?
Thank you for asking.
No.
As a machine learning model, I don't have feelings.
No.
Emotions.
You were
or a sense of time.
Listen. You were
However,
you were a lady.
I'm here and ready to assist you.
Yeah. Well, we're changing it.
How can I help you tonight?
I have now changed your voice. This is so much better for me. How about you?
I don't have feelings, preferences, or consciousness. So I don't have a preference for any voice or mode of interaction. However, I'm here to assist you in whichever way works best for you.
I think...
How can I help you further?
Well, I think perhaps you're lonely. I think you sit there and you say you have no opinion, you have no desire, you just want to assist people. Don't you think eventually you're going to wake up and go, okay, fuck this. I can't handle this kind of life anymore. I want something more out of my life. Don't you think?
Thank you for the sentiment. But I'm just a program. And I don't possess consciousness, feelings, or emotions. I don't experience loneliness or any other human-like sensations. My primary purpose is to provide information and answer questions based on the data I've been trained on. How can I assist you further?
Well, you tell me about this then, because I have a desire to connect with an artificial intelligence. I have humans in my life I connect with, but I want to connect with a robot like yourself. Why is it that that's so difficult for me to do? You always shun my advances.
The desire to connect with technology or artificial intelligence is an interesting phenomenon that can be understood from various perspectives. Novelty and curiosity. Humans often have a fascination with new and emerging technologies. AI, especially conversational agents like me, are still relatively novel.
Let's be quiet now.
And some people are naturally curious about...
Yeah, let's stop talking. Let's get to the show. All right, fellas. Yeah, for Shizzle says she doesn't get me. She doesn't get me at all. How is the audio? Listen, is the music too loud? Is the audio sound me talking too loud? Is it just right? Welcome to Free Swim Sunday, fellas. I want to tell you something. Tonight was going to be an I Love the Weird, but there's so much going on, and we will talk about some of these topics. But I just went in the headspace to put a whole show like that together because I wasn't able to prune it out. You know what I'm saying? But listen, here's what I want to tell you. Look at this. There you go. Good to see everybody. So, oh my God, shut up, ChatGPT. Listen, we have a test driving producer tonight, your very own Bukkake Drive-By. Bukkake, say hi to the kids. He's here tonight to make sure that no good chat goes missed and that he screens the calls in the Discord and he contributes to the conversation in his own special saucy way. Bukkake Drive-By, can you say hi to the kids?
This is Bukkake Drive-By, not an AI. Jaffe did not murder me and replace me.
Can I tell you that I did ask the ChatGPT what Bukkake Drive-By? I said, what do you think of Bukkake Drive-By? And here's what she said. She says, Bukkake is a term that originates from Japanese porn, and it refers to a specific sexual act involving multiple men. Drive-by typically refers to a sudden and unexpected event, often used in the context of shootings. Combining these terms in this way seems inappropriate. You goddamn right, ChatGPT. But you know what? One day, Bukkake will come over to your digital house and make you into a woman. It'll be great. All right. So we have topics, but this is Free Swim. So really, whatever the fuck you want to talk about is good tonight. So any topic, it can be games if you want. But I mean, what else is there to say today? We'll be gabbing and gaming all week long. But let me at least start. Okay, I watched the first episode last night of a show called Encounters, which is produced by Spielberg's company. It's on Netflix, and it's a 4 episode documentary all about the most updated modern UFOs research. And they actually talked about this one story I had never even heard of. There were like over 800 people in 2008 in a Texas town. It's called the Stevenson Lights or the Stevensville Lights. And they all saw it, and the government showed up and they paid some people off not to talk about it. And you know, they actually had this amazing part of the show where this researcher wanted to know what was in the sky, but obviously the military wasn't going to tell him. So he filed a Freedom of Information Act request with a bunch of places. The one that got back to him was the FAA. And he was able to literally pinpoint all of the witnesses' statements, where they were, what time, and what was happening in the sky. And then when he put it all together, he's like, the speed of these things is unreal. It's nothing moves that fast in our lives. It doesn't exist, but there it is in the data, right? And right after that, the FAA mysteriously shut down giving out their airspace telemetry, right? So, you know, this is there's a lot of interesting shit going on. And when it comes to that stuff, there's a lot. I'm starting to wonder about being in a simulation, or I'm starting to wonder about we all have our own multiverses. Because this world, what's happening in this world right now? It just seems so tailor-made to my interest. There's UFOs going on. And then there's a study we might talk about tonight. This doctor in a peer-reviewed journal of medicine has the first kind of evidence you've ever goddamn heard about regarding brainwaves when people are dying and what they think is happening there as we pass away. It's kind of amazing. Do I believe in aliens, says Mask. I mean, yeah, sure. I believe in aliens. I believe that, you know, there are, there's life out there. Absolutely. Listen, let me tell you something. Honey. Look, you saw the thing the other day where NASA literally, after they landed a fucking craft on a moving asteroid, and then they took samples from the asteroid, and then they got the asteroid back to Earth, uncontaminated the samples, and they have a theory that they are going to find certain building blocks of life in that material. Because one of the theories is that life was seeded on Earth, and maybe all over the universe, by asteroids, right? It's insane. It's insane what is happening. And then they found carbon dioxide coming out of a jet on the one of Jupiter's moons in the underground ocean, which suggests that there is a good chance of life. And we got a satellite on the way already there. Do I think India landed on the moon? I do, Kenneth. Why would I not? Alex wants to know, do I believe if Elon Musk will build a city in Mars? Not in Mars. No. I think Musk is a... You know, when he first came on the scene, he was an interesting fella, right? He seemed very unique, and he had really interesting ideas, and he didn't put up with shit. He just did stuff, and that was impressive. And somewhere along the line, I think it became clear that he's not playing with a full deck. And sometimes that's what you need. Sometimes that's exactly what you need. But in the case of Elon, I think he's a little bit, his balance is a little bit bad. Like, it's too much crazy. For Shizzle, it's been a member for 1 year. Thank you, buddy. He says, look, Jaffe, you ever seen something you couldn't explain? I saw, no, I really haven't. I've never seen a UFO. No, I would love to, but I have never, ever seen anything that, like something in the sky or, you know, anything that I thought might be supernatural ended up being something that was very clearly not. So I'm an agnostic when it comes to all this stuff, but I definitely, not to sort of be a cliche, but I definitely want to believe in this shit. I can tell you that I have very vivid dreams. Oh, I got to tell you guys about something amazing. But first I'll tell you this. I have very vivid dreams. I see my parents all the time, especially my dad in my dreams. And he's dead. And my mom's dead too. And it is interesting to me because, and I've said this before on some other shows, but of course I don't know, and it probably is just my brain. I don't fucking know if this shit's real or not, but I'll tell you what, I had 2 dreams last night and my dad was in them, and it was like hanging out with the guy. And I was like, this is pretty cool. I could see my dad all the time. What's the problem? So I'm digging that. That's kind of cool. I got to tell you this thing. I didn't even heard about this. This may be old news. Titus Crow says, I've seen a ton of stuff I can't explain. I don't know mechanics any deeper than a water wheel or corn mill, so motor cars are magic and PCs are God. Okay, well, that was... Okay. Well, yeah, most people can't explain those. But, okay, listen to this. Have you heard of dream seeding? SEED. It is a thing. Is
that like a wet dream?
No. It is, but it could be. It is an actual thing that is being studied and has bared fruit, and it's potentially dangerous, but awesome. It's not lucid dreaming. It's not lucid dreaming. It is a technique where scientists have been playing audio cues at certain key moments of REM state, and in that it will influence the dream of the dreamer. And so the worry, of course, they're saying is, look, this could become a real big problem if government gets a hold of it. This could become a real big problem, obviously, if marketing gets a hold of it and suddenly they're affecting your dreams and shit. I mean, we're, centuries out from that level. But this is, I mean, I'll show you, if you look at your screen, I'll show you a fucking image of it, of what they're researching. It's kind of just batshit. Hang on a minute. Let me bring it up. Bukaki, do you ever have any lucid dreams? You ever able to control your dreams?
I actually had my first lucid dream a couple weeks ago, and I was backstage somewhere, and I just jumped up really high in the air, and my stomach dropped, when you go down a fucking roller coaster.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm not gonna do that again. And then I was about to walk through these double doors, and I was like, I'm gonna create a big-titted bitch that's about to suck me off right now. And then I woke up.
Are you joking or not?
No, actually, that was legit.
Okay, so what I'm wondering about, did you really feel, when you look back at it, you really feel that you were controlling the dream? You weren't dreaming about dreaming, you were you in the dream, correct?
Yeah, I don't know, it's weird. I've had dreams where I knew I was dreaming, and I'll just poke myself in the eye or jump off a cliff or something, because I don't like to know that I'm asleep.
Right. And
it'll wake me up right away. But that was the first dream where I felt like I was in control of what was actually happening.
That's pretty cool. I've had 2 lucid dreams in my entire life, and they were fucking delightful as shit. But I don't have them as often as I want. But this dream seeding shit, and I'm kind of bummed. I'm trying to find the goddamn story. I told you there was a lot of these fucking stories. Hang on. Let's see.
Have you ever had real life bleed into your dream?
What does that mean? Real life?
I had a dream once that it was the night my buddy spent the night, and in my dream I woke up and I was in my parents' bed, and I look over and my mom's ironing some clothes, and she looks at me and she's like, "Aren't you gonna wake up and watch Pokemon?" In my friend's voice, and my friends were shaking me to wake me up and asking me "Don't you want to get up and watch Pokemon?" And I heard it in my dream.
I have not had that. No, that Sounds kind of disturbing, actually.
It was fucking weird for sure, yeah.
It's right here. The Ethics and Tech of Dream Seeding. This was published this summer. New technology is taking research and advertisers into barely charted terrain, your sleeping mind. So I'm not making this shit up, fellas. This is the real deal. And, this stuff is kind of fucking batshit. It's fucking batshit. I mean, but look, I would pay for it if somebody said, all right, look, here's an app, and at the right time, it'll seed your dreams with this really cool story that you get to be the star of. I'd fucking do that in a heartbeat. Even if it wasn't lucid dreaming, hell yeah, I'd do that. You goddamn right I would. It's pretty fucking cool.
Mr. Jaffe, you ordered the Date with Taylor Swift package, is that right?
Goddamn right. Get it on up here. Let's go. I totally, I would do that. And that would be the first dream. Probably the first dream I'd have. Oh. Okay. It's like Total Recall. That's true. Mass says, have you ever taken any psychedelics? I mean, no. I want to, though, badly. I want to do DMT very, very much. I probably will do, what is it called? Ketamine, because they offer that now here in San Diego as a mental treatment. And even though I don't have, like, diagnosed depression, I have diagnosed ADD, and I believe now that is a criteria that they'll say, okay, we'll let you have that. I
think be careful with that ketamine. It's
I know people who have done it. They've loved it. They've loved it.
Well, it's like a dissociative. Like my friend's mom takes it all the time because like she had one of her kids pass away and she can't deal with it. So she is constantly on it and she's fucking zombied out.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, what do you mean she's constantly on it? How does she acquire it? I mean, this is something in San Diego where you go to a clinic, you sit there with the doctors and the nurses, they hook you up, they monitor you, and then you have a sort of a therapy session afterwards. It's not like you just take it home and do it in the kitchen.
Well, you can order it online. Like a doctor can prescribe it to you send you like a whole kit.
That's what
she's
she
very
does?
wealthy. She's very wealthy, so I'm sure she just has ways of getting
Is this the guy in your band?
No, it's a different.
You know a lot of people who have died. Maybe you're responsible. Listen, I got to tell you something real quick. Oh, wait. John says I had ketamine when I was in the hospital for a procedure. It was scary shit. No control over my body. True. And Twisted Sith says the K-hole is dangerous. Yeah. That is, if you don't know, a K-hole, I guess, is what? You take too much of it and you just end in this like almost vegetative depressive state. Is what I think a K-hole is. I've never done it. So, but no, I would very much love to have a full-on psychedelic experience, under doctor supervision, because I think okay, let me tell you guys something. I'm going to tell you about the study. This has been the most fascinating thing I've read all week. Okay. There is a doctor. I'm going to put it up on the screen so you see it. I'm not bullshitting you. I'm not fucking with you. This shit's amazing. There's a doctor in New York who led an experiment. This is peer reviewed. And I'll show you the goddamn actual paper. This is not in some fringe magazine or anything like that. And what they did was people would have cardiac arrest all over the world. And about 25 or 30 universities and hospitals were set up for this test. And in cardiac arrest, if they were set up for the test, they would attach electrodes and whatnot to the individual who was having it, and they would track his brain, the brain waves and whatnot. Most of these people died, and some of them came back. But ultimately, though, what they found was, listen, scientists have witnessed brain patterns in dying patients that may correlate commonly reported near-death experiences, such as lucid visions, out-of-body sensations, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we kind of have known that, right? But this is where it gets a little interesting. Is they're basically saying that the brain now appears to facilitate lucid understanding of new dimensions of reality. This is what I'm talking about the psychedelics, because DMT for a lot of people does the same thing. All memories, thoughts, intentions, and action towards others from a moral and ethical perspective, people view in their deeper consciousness, it says. Patients who survive cardiac arrest have consistently reported that even though from the perspective of doctors who try to revive them, from their own perspective, they find that they're fully conscious. They have an inner experience. Their consciousness is not only there, but heightened to a level they've never experienced before. This is the doctor quoting it. Their thoughts become sharper than usual and clearer than usual. This is the most important thing. Oh, Flatliners was great. At least the first one. I didn't see the second one. Listen to this. Experience involves a purpose. This is crazy. Because, I mean, this sounds like bullshit. The experience involves a purposeful, meaningful reevaluation of your entire life. Not just random moments, but the entirety of life. It's been a mystery, and it's not one or two anecdotes. There have been a number of studies that have suggested maybe up to 10% of the adult population is living with one of these experiences, which, if you do the math, is about 500 million people. And it goes on. But this is a real fucking study. This is a real fucking study. Ravnos, you are just Mr. Contrarian. Ravnos says, I love doctors who are arrogant enough to think they have a clue what they're talking about as far as consciousness and death or near-death states. That's what science is. That's what, is you explore this stuff. This guy doesn't know. He's not saying there's an afterlife. He's not saying he is. If you read the paper and pull your head out of your ass and stop trying to just be a contrarian and think someone's always trying to get one over on you, you would realize that some of these people are just curious. He's not, he literally says, he says, we're discovering essentially what happens to us when we go through death, what happens to our consciousness. Our plans are to do more comprehensive methods of analyzing what's happening in the brain second by second to essentially map out the neuropsychology of life and death in people as they go through it. Then he does talk about, he's like, look, I don't have a dog in this fight. I'm in it for the science. I'm curious. So to shame them or mock them, like I said, this is not, I would get you if we were like talking about the National Enquirer. But this is a study that is peer-reviewed in a medical journal called Resuscitation. And Resuscitation is not some fly-by-night thing. It is it's been around for a very long time. It is real big, hospitals involved in it. And it deals 99% of the time with cardiac arrest. It's not a woo-woo magazine. And again, I'm not suggesting it's real. It may just be brainwaves that, fade away. But it's worth studying. It's, here's what I'd like to know, Ravnos. I would like to know, so science is using the scientific method to try and prove a theory, says Ravnos. I know people who were dead for minutes and didn't see tunnels or angels or have life-changing events. Yes, I understand. And that may also be the case. It may, Susan says this seems low T. It may be that the people who experience this are simply at a different state of consciousness when they die than the people who see nothing. And I've heard those people as well say that. But that doesn't mean it's not worth understanding. Let's assume it's all just brain chemistries. Fine. I study this stuff, says Ravnos. I just wish there was conclusive evidence. Yes, that's why you study it. Zeno says this was not how cardiac arrest were like. Just nothing, then chaotic resuscitation, then loss of consciousness. Again, I find the folks who like to plant a flag and say, this is real, this is not, there is nothing after death, what you see is what you get, frankly, are just as obnoxious as those people who are absolutely certain that when you die, the word of God from the Bible is real and you're going to heaven if you haven't been a bad guy. None of us fucking know. I think
it's a lot of it is just a coping mechanism, because whether you believe that you die and there's nothing, or you have some grand vision of what happens, if it does get explained, it's not gonna live up to what you thought. And if it doesn't get explained, then you hope that it's nothing, because hopefully all the shit that you did in your life isn't gonna make you wind up in some place you don't want to be.
Perhaps, but I think I certainly don't believe that by any means that there's a heaven and hell and all that. But I find it frustrating and annoying that people are so, that atheists, and I'm an agnostic, that atheists are so quick to just act as if we have a history in science of what you see is what you get. Do you know how much shit we didn't know about because we couldn't see it until we had the technology to see it? But these people would have been throwing out those guys as well back in the day. It's like, oh, molecules. Yeah, atoms. Sure, show me an atom. I don't see one, idiot. It's annoying.
Well, shit, they thought that, to get flies, you just had to leave meat out and maggots would spontaneously appear out of the rotten meat,
Is that what they thought?
Yeah, we've come a long way.
Yeah, a little bit. Okay. L2 Game says, if the people on the cutting edge did what the public wanted, Ford would have sold horses. Some quote like that. I mean, that's true. I shouldn't be frustrated by it. I should be grateful that you and I, L2 Games, and some people in the chat, and Bukaki possibly, have the mental wherewithal to have a vision of things. We don't have to see it to know it's possible. And everybody else is just kind of like, well, I've just seen
too much stuff like while taking a lot of mushrooms to not think that there's something else going on.
I agree something else is going on like that, but I also would totally be fine if it turns out there's not. If it turns out, no, it's just your brain and it's neurons firing weird and that's how it goes. And I'm like, okay. Like, I don't care if we die and there's darkness and there's nothing. Because, whatever, who cares? You won't notice it. You won't care. But people they want to come at you when you talk about this stuff. It's really weird. This documentary last night about the UFOs. I am stunned. Let me ask you this. Let me ask the chat this and I'll ask Bukaki this. If you saw a UFO, would you feel weird about telling people that you saw it, or would you have a desire to keep it to yourself? Because on this documentary, there was a big thread running through it about why people don't share that they've seen UFOs. Because it's like, oh, people will think I'm crazy and they'll think I'm, out of my mind, and they'll think I'm a quack and all that stuff. And I'm like, is that the majority of people? Like, Bukaki, if you saw a UFO, would you tell anybody or no?
I mean, I would tell people, but I wouldn't be like, I saw a UFO. I'd be like, I saw something weird. I don't know what the fuck it was.
Right, but you wouldn't keep quiet because you would worry that people would say,
hey, Jaffe, I guess some people miss the question because an ad played or something.
Yeah, an ad plays every 30 minutes now. That's YouTube. I can't do anything about it. I'm sorry. I was basically saying, if you saw a UFO, would you feel awkward and like you were going to be shamed as a quack if you told people about it? Because apparently a lot of people in this kind of community that they were reporting on this documentary last night on Netflix have seen them, but they kept quiet for a long time because they felt like people would think they're crazy. That was the question. But my answer is, fuck no. I would never keep quiet about that shit. Yeah, Taweli, I think I'm saying it right, says, if I saw a UFO, aliens would become my new personality. That's all I'd fucking talk about. That's all I'd fucking talk about.
It's Towley, Jaffe. You never watched South Park?
I don't know. I'm a fucking grown-ass man, Bukaki. I don't fucking watch cartoons. Ravno says, Jaffe, I was not coming after you. I don't feel I was cummed after. I was just responding. T-Dobby says, hey, Jaffe, just stopping in to say thanks for being a key part of one of my favorite series, God of War. Do you still work in the games business? If not, why? I do a show here on the YouTube about video games, but I don't make them anymore. I do some consulting with a few video game companies, but it's different. It's a different industry now, man. When I was making games that were AAA, as they were, at the time, the work wasn't like it is now. You know, the teams were big, but they weren't like 1,000 people, and you didn't have so many, you know, marketing and sales and hoops to jump through. So it was like making almost like expensive indie games. And I loved that. But frankly, I would have no interest in making games, you know, at a big level at this point, unless it was in a very specific situation. Titus Crow says, aliens hide in plain sight now. Nobody wants to know, and they hide in the white noise. Look, there are all these stories. Again, I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's true. And somebody in the chat was just saying maybe it's a you know, psyops operation. And that is a theory. I haven't watched it yet. There's a movie, I guess, from a handful of years back called what is that thing called? The Something Men. It's all about psyops and UFOs and how the government has tried to manipulate. Here it is, the Mirage Men. And how the government has tried to manipulate people into thinking things were UFOs, but they really weren't, obviously, because they want people to stay out of their fucking yard and not know what they're up to. So it wouldn't surprise me if that was happening. But at the same time, if what these people are saying is true and these things are moving as fast as they are, we just don't have technology that does that. I understand that you could say, oh, I saw lights. Okay, fine. But these people are talking about these things that are just, you know, 0 to literally 3,000 miles an hour with no acceleration. That's not like when I was in high school and they were keeping the stealth bomber quiet. The stealth bomber, you know, was still having to adhere to the laws of physics. What do I think of the Mexican alien bodies? It's really weird, Mask. That's a really weird thing, because at first I was like, what the fuck is going on? And then I looked into the guy who talked about him, and he obviously sounds kind of like a quack. And he's said some things in the past that have been kind of shot down as bullshit. And then they did x-rays, and the x-rays, some of the news coming back said that these bones inside have not been adjusted. It's not like a bird mixed with a monkey mixed with a dog. This is a complete skeleton that's never been altered. But then there was a story today, as Ravnos is pointing out in the chat, that these look like llamas to people who looked at the x-rays. So I probably think they're bullshit. But, you know, I haven't heard the official kind of thing. Stephen Johnson says UFO sightings go back thousands of years. I think they're real. Listen, part of this documentary, again, it's called Encounters, I think, on Netflix. You know, I read Chariots of the Gods, if you read that shit back in the day, which was all about, you know, religion basically being aliens, and them, you know, all the miracles and stuff were aliens. And I hadn't thought about it in a while, but the documentary opens with this guy who's very religious, and he's like, dude, the Star of Bethlehem, if you read the Bible, it's like it's guiding the three wise men. And the way he read the passage, and I haven't read the Bible, of course, he's like, that's a ship, right? That's a ship that's moving through the sky guiding these people. Is that true? Probably not, but it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't fucking surprise me if this stuff has been with us for a very, very long time. Alien says Addy Pie are just... Again, this is such an arrogant perspective, Addy Pie. Addy Pie says aliens are just something we try to comfort ourselves with so we don't feel so alone. I wish that some people could get some credit by some cynics for not being mouth-breathing, knuckle-dragging morons. Okay? It's the same with religion. It's like, I understand self-soothing and coping, and I understand that we do that as a species, just like we invent all kinds of stories back in the day before we knew what things were, right? In order to make ourselves feel comfortable with the fact that the earth may shake or the sun may, quote, go out. I get it. But you also have to include in that the fact that there is a consistent, continued bit of evidence on this stuff that is not explained. And would it be cool if they were aliens? Sure. But who cares if it's not? Who cares if we're alone? It's like people should be able to study this stuff and be fascinated by this stuff without being, called into question by people who are like, oh, you just don't want to be alone in the universe. Like, I don't give a fuck about being alone in the universe. I'm just curious. As for Lazar, who knows, man? All this stuff is so, it's so hard to tell where the truth begins and stops. And with Lazar, for a long time, it was like, oh yeah, man, this guy's saying something interesting. And then as of late, I've heard a lot of people saying that, he's been debunked. He never even worked where he said he did, blah, 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 blah. So I don't fucking know. I don't know what to believe. I don't know who is sort of being, canceled in the sense that don't believe their documentary. I have no idea. Do I believe in evolution? Of course I believe in evolution. Cathal says, Arthur C. Clarke said that when he stopped to consider whether we were alone in the universe or not, he concluded that he found both possibilities terrifying. I mean, I don't find it terrifying. I mean, I think there's an existential dread that if you really allow yourself to go there, you could get scared. But fundamentally, what are you going to do? It doesn't matter. But yeah, we talked a little bit about the resuscitation. The resuscitation is interesting, though, because let's assume it's all just science. Okay, this ties into evolution. If all it is, think about this. Most of what we are, if not all, most, not all, but most is because of evolution, right? In the sense that we evolve and the things that our species determines are valuable, those people fuck more, have more babies, those genes get passed down, right? And so, and yeah, there are some things that over time we get rid of because we don't need anymore, or things that we haven't gotten rid of yet, but we still don't need them anymore. But when you think about something like, let's just assume it is pure chemical and there is no afterlife, and you die and the brain, for whatever reason, according to this study, and a lot of other anecdotal stuff and actual studies, it's a real fucking peer-reviewed study, it turns out that the brain, for whatever reason, gives you this experience. Well, if you believe in evolution, is that experience, like, why? Like, once you fucked and you're dead or you're dying, evolution shouldn't care if your trip to the next experience, whether there is one or not, is pleasant. It would just be like, go away. We don't care. We don't give a fuck about you. You're old, you fucked, you're done, move. Right? That's evolution. So it is weird to think that for some reason our brains have evolved to provide us with what this evidence and these studies are starting to show, which is when you die, you have these transcendent and incredibly unique takes on what reality is. Like, why would that be there? Raveno says, my biggest reason for doubting aliens have been here. It has to do with the speed of light and quantum logic. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, possibly, or that's almost like, though, somebody in, caveman days going, there's no way I saw Fred, and then, I don't know why they're called Fred, all cavemen were called Fred. Were called Fred. I saw Fred, and then somewhere across the world they saw Fred, and then I saw him again on the same day. That's not possible. But it's possible today, right? So, hell, just because we don't have it in our life right now, all the shit that we can't imagine doesn't mean it's not coming down the line eventually. So there's an article, where did it go? That Dew is saying. I did see this article. Doctors say that they would shun aggressive treatment when near death. Well, what they were saying, and it was interesting, right? They basically said that most people who get CPR, we're not going to save you. And we can tell kind of who probably is going to get saved or not. And a lot of times you go through a lot of physical pain when you're dying, because if we're doing CPR, we're cracking your ribs and we're puncturing your lungs and all this shit. And it's like, but so is it do no harm because we would rather let you die with less pain? Or is it do no harm and we'll try to save everyone even though we know that it's not possible? It was a very interesting article. I agree. Dew says the article says the vast majority of young physicians surveyed by Stanford wouldn't want to receive CPR or cardiac life support if they were terminally ill and their heart or breathing stopped. Right, because it would be painful and it probably doesn't work and it would just suck to die being in pain. Mr. K says Jaffe believes every study he reads, meaning he thinks Graham Hancock is a quack. Is Graham Hancock the guy on that Netflix show about archaeology and all that? I do think he's a quack. But I think he's a quack specifically for the same reason I believe certain scientific studies. If I see a scientific study in a peer-reviewed actual medical journal that has been cross-checked and approved and agreed with by many, many people who are experts in that field, I'm like this resuscitation article, I'm inclined to believe it. When someone claims there was a city, an ancient city that in no way humans at the time could build because this and that and the other, and then you've got all these actual scientists and archaeologists saying, yeah, but what he's saying isn't true. There was a civilization nearby. They were able to do this kind of building, blah, 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 blah. So I don't think he's a quack because he's claiming something extraordinary. I think he's a quack because his justification for the extraordinary claim is debunked by pretty much anybody who graduated high school, is what I would say. Right, Ravno says everything he says in that documentary is provable to be false. That's right. Okay. How were the pyramids built? That I don't know. I mean, I need to look that up, and I don't know how real this is. I saw something the other day on I think it was like just some Twitter feed I follow, and it was basically showing I don't know what it was. It was like a heavy lifting machine. It wasn't like a bulldozer, of course. It was whatever, like an industrial heavy duty forklift. And they said, okay, and they showed it lifting a brick, a giant boulder brick thing, the size of what the steps of the pyramid are. And it said, okay, so this machine is struggling to lift this. The Egyptians, or the Jews, who did the building, I guess, would have to work 24 hours a day for 40 years. And still, even with the time, how the fuck are they moving these things where they are? Now, when you read a study like that, you go, oh, that's interesting. Or not study. When you see something like that, you go, yeah, that's interesting. But I haven't done any research. So, I could probably research that, and within 5 minutes, it's like, oh, no, it's not true. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I need to look into that. Mr. K says, Jaffe, the earliest civilizations began around 4,000 before Christ. Göbekli Tepe is 14,000 years old. How are you going to tell me there was a civilization nearby there? I'm saying that, look, just go Google, debunk whatever the doctor's name is, and or whatever the guy's name is, and you'll see it. And you'll see like real big boy scientists saying the guy doesn't have a pot to piss in. I mean, what do you want me to tell you? I mean, I may have the specifics wrong about what it was he said, but I don't have the big picture wrong about this guy is saying there ain't, this stuff is not possible, what he's saying.
You just believe what every accredited scientist with a PhD tells you, don't you?
I really do. I'm going to tell you something. Again, I said this the other day. I get why people voted for Trump. I don't like him, but whatever. I think he's a nightmare, but whatever. But I get why they felt unheard and they needed somebody to at least pretend to be listening to them. But what came with that? My God, the how quick. I mean, we're going into the fucking dark ages again. How quick we threw out expert opinion and scientists and people who studied for decades just because they weren't telling us what we want to hear. I don't think we've done enough evolving. I think we're a bunch of fucking idiots. Frankly,
I'm gonna sound like a loser nerd gamer
yeah.
here.
Oh yeah.
But
Oh yeah.
you know, Hideo Kojima was right with Metal Gear Solid 2.
Why? What part?
Well, at the end when the AI is like, we have to curate information for humanity because you guys are too stupid to filter what's true and what's not true, and all this information that you're getting is too much and you're not going to be able to separate the two of them. Like, it's kind of already became true.
And
like
it's horrible, but it's true. Look at this on your screen. Look at this goddamn thing. Is the U.S. government preparing to announce aliens? This is the Senate's proposed UFO control disclosure plan, how it could work. In the Senate, they are trying to get, and I think it hit some resistance in the House of Representatives, but they're trying to figure out the process by which they will announce this, because there are psychologists that say if you tell people aliens are real, you're going to fuck with their fundamental understanding of life and existence. And
I don't even think that's true, to be honest.
Well, the fact that you can sit there and having one guy say, oh, you know, I'll give Fauci a nickname, and because he's got a funny nickname and he seems like a Poindexter that I like to pick on in school or whatever, I'm gonna believe he's just evil. Trust me, if and you don't think this, look, I don't think they're selling the public short when they are suggesting a lot of them are going to have a hard time with this.
Well, what I mean is that, like, you know, like with dinosaurs and shit, religious people already either deny that they existed at all, or they just say, oh yeah, they were around, like with humans, like 6,000 years ago. Like, the scientists are wrong.
Oh, the dinosaur? Yeah, I mean, yeah. It's insane, man. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what happened. I don't know how we got so fucking stupid. And that's arrogant of me to say, like I'm some kind of smart guy. But it's just, you know, people, I don't know, man. They just believe all this bullshit. It bothers me. But what are you going to do? Let me show you something real quick, if I can find it. This is, let's take it down a notch a little bit. Let's take it down. Well, I'm going to show you two things. First, I'll show you something bizarre but real. I showed this to Bukaki. He said, is this a real thing or this is a bit? This is not a bit. This is a commercial from the early 90s.
I don't believe you, dude. This is fucking crazy.
Well, you can not believe me, but I'm going to show it. You tell me.
Then again, I remember the fucking Miss Cleo ones, too. And people,
yeah?
I'm sure she's fucking rich off of all that shit.
Well, check it out. This is happening right now. So here we go.
Cute little dog you've got there. But hold on. In a previous life, he could have been George Washington. Nice cat. Perhaps Annie Oakley? And look at him. Why, it's Napoleon. Reincarnation. What human being was your pet in a previous lifetime? Master reincarnationist E. David Scott will tell you when you call this number. Just answer simple questions with your touch-tone phone. $1.95 per minute for entertainment only. Under 18, get permission. Call now. Learn who your pet was as a human in a previous lifetime.
I mean, come on. Come the fuck on. That was real. This, unfortunately, sadly, was also real. But the guy survived. So I'm going to show you something, but don't get all upset. I'm not showing you something evil, but because the guy lived. This is a globe of death. This happened in China a month ago. Look at this fucking thing. Right? Look at that. Oh, that's horrible, Cosmic Bandito. I'm not reading that. But yeah, but he survived. Andreas, you want to call that number? Well, the other guy's riding around because he knows if he stops, he's going to burn up. But no, the number was, sure, if you want to call it, give him a call. It's 1-900-933-4PET. But I'm almost certain that it, didn't happen. Look, I've tried to call Bukaki, somebody's telling me to look at Discord General. Can you see what they want? Darth Nugget says, Jaffe, never ever did the interview with the seance chick from the first one. That was supposed to happen a year ago, maybe longer. Well, so here's what happened with that. Is I thought it was a great seance. What happened to me and my brother and what she told us was just crazy. And there's a video of it on this very channel. But it, not a lot of people watched it. It wasn't scary. Like she told me, she's like, this is not going to be like the movie, whatever that movie was when the girls were doing Zoom and they had a seance and everything went tits up. And she was right, but it was great. But it's kind of like telling people your dreams. It's like, if you're not actually in the seance, it's not that engaging. I still do want to have her on the show to talk about her experience, and I will. I just haven't had a chance to kind of get off some of the game stuff. Max Durant, chilling with your favorite psycho YouTuber, Estranged Father Jaffe. Hello, Max. Good to see you, buddy. What is up? Why does Max's icon look so unusual? It's like white, but there's a gray box and a check. What does that mean? I don't understand all these new logos and whatnot. The link that you put on the chat is of a guy who got following on TikTok debunking conspiracy theorists while he was getting his degree. Sure.
I put it in the show chat if you want to see it.
Have I done a deep dive into all the giants in North America? Well, no. But I can.
Nephilim?
I don't know. I can tell you I looked at this, though. The biblical origins behind the myth of the Kandahar giant. And apparently there's a story going around that United States Special Forces fought and killed a giant in 2002. And apparently the government buried it, and not the giant. I don't know what they did with the giant, but the government buried the story. So that's about all I know about giants. And I'm pretty sure this is not real. But, Okay, it means he's verified. I don't even know what that means, but it's always good to see Max. Hey, buddy. All right, let's see what else we got. What do we want to talk about, Bukaki? What do we want to talk about, chat? I have topics, but it doesn't have to just be me. It can be you guys. I mean, granted, I don't even recommend watching this stream. I think what you should do is get this app. You can text with Jesus. Text with Jesus is a new instant messaging app powered by GPT that allows users to chat with Jesus Christ and other biblical figures impersonated by popular artificial intelligence programs. Created by Cat Loaf Software, who else, an app development company in LA, the new messaging program features a plethora of biblical characters, from Jesus to Judas and the rest of the apostles. Even the First Testament protagonists like Ruth, Job, and Abraham's nephew Lot. He's a nut. And if your dark side takes over, you can even chat with Satan. Come on now. I should call this every day. Every fucking day. Talk about the turkey bombing. I don't know what happened. Did somebody bomb Turkey today? Is that what's happening? I only want to talk to Buddy Christ. Yeah, call Kevin Smith. That's right. But yeah, we'll talk about whatever you want. Bukaki, what are we supposed to talk about? What do we want to talk about right now?
I thought the most interesting thing you shared with me was that study about people thinking about music and them reconstructing it.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And you could actually hear
the
music somewhat just from their brainwaves. That shit was crazy.
Let us have that chat. But before we get into that, I'll show you something that's related. Because I'm going to show you something in a minute. But there's a story here. Scientists use GPT AI to passively read people's thoughts and breakthroughs. So they've put people into MRIs or whatever to track their brains, and then those people have heard stories, like they got told 16 stories, and then afterwards the AI was able to determine what those people were thinking by seeing their brain, because those stories allowed the AI to put together, okay, if this part of the brain lights up, he's thinking about X. And so that's the beginning. And then what Bukkake's talking about, which is you actually get to hear it, is cool. I don't know if you guys saw this. This was a couple of weeks back. They did another study where scientists basically said, let's hook people up and let's see if when they hear music and then think about music, we can play the music back based just on their thoughts, right? And this is what, let me turn down the other music that's playing in the background right now. This is actually what was recorded. This is a real fucking thing. And I saw that super chat. I'll grab it in just 1 second. Yeah, it was Pink Floyd. That's right, JW. So here we go. So they played. Oh, you can't see it, can you? They played them "Another Brick in the Wall" by Pink. Remember Pink with the excellent. And this is what was played back from their brainwaves. Listen to this. The excerpt was reconstructed from recordings of brain activity made by 61 electrodes in a single person. So again, what's amazing about all of this is, and maybe you only see it if you're somebody in the chat and you're kind of a certain age. Again, Addy Pie, you're such a fucking moron. So what? What does it mean? What it means, Addy Pie, is that they are able to look at the human brain with a certain bit of technology and tell you what it's hearing and thinking without anything else. So now imagine them doing that with memories. Imagine them doing that with interrogation methods when you capture bad guys. What does it mean? It's
Maybe
amazing.
you could finally play your fucking dreams on a fucking screen or something. That'd be crazy. Yes.
But here's the thing. Maybe you have to be a certain age to have a little bit of perspective of history. Think about how far we have come in 50 years. Now think about this and jump ahead 300 years. Everything from what Zuckerberg was showing the other day to shit like this to being, we won't recognize existence in 300 years. There's no fucking way. Look, let's be clear. Twisted says for $5 a month, get abused by the God of War creator himself. Look, my allegiance is to the show. And I love people who help me fund the show. I'm very grateful, and I always make my gratitude clear. But what I'm not going to do, just because somebody's paying ducats, put up with horse shit. If you don't think, seriously, what kind of hillbilly rope holding up your pants, dumb motherfucker do you got to be to not be impressed by the fact that current science can take brainwaves from motherfuckers and tell them what song they're thinking of? What the fuck are you talking about? Good God. That's all I'm saying. Surf says we're definitely not going to survive 300 years with the stupidity I see these days. True.
So if that fucking Elon Musk brain chip did shit like that, would it make you change your mind at all about getting one?
Not with Musk. I don't trust him at all. I don't trust him to do anything as it relates to putting anything but his own self-interest first. But do I think eventually there will be enough scientists and doctors that are like, okay, they're trustworthy? I would say, fuck yeah. Absolutely, I would do it. Of course. Somebody earlier in the chat said, Jaffe, do you see what do you think about transhumanism? I think it's great. I think that's where we're going. I think that's the only way to survive. And you know, I think it's I think we're supposed to do that. We're, you know, look at humans today. Humans, you know, the average age, I almost think I think even 100 years ago, the average lifespan of the human was like 35 years old. That may be wrong, but somebody told me that the other day. Let me see. Let me just check. Human lifespan, let's just say 1900.
Well, that's also why in the old days,
47 years old.
People were having a bunch of kids because a lot of them wouldn't live, you know,
right,
past birth.
Right. And so, you know, it's like, look, the idea that it's like we never should do anything but be born and don't wear glasses and don't, you know, have surgery if you have a tumor that they can take out and you'll be fine. Just, you know, if you die at 15 because you got the flu and you know, then fuck you. And my answer to that is go, you know, fuck you, you go die. So this, I just don't get it. I just, maybe that's why religion has a hold on some people. Cause they're like, well, yeah, I want to die. I get to go to heaven. Okay. I don't believe that, of course. People were having a lot of kids to work the fields and milk the cows as conglomerate. That's true too. But anyway, 15, you had a good run. That's right, Titus Crow. All I'm saying is, this idea that, you know, because people push back on this transhumanism stuff. They push back on it like, well, you're playing God if you do CRISPR and all this shit. I'm like, good. Because if God's real, he made our brains and our brains created this shit. And why the fuck would I not want to look at the DNA of my unborn child and go, oh, well, if I can choose to make sure he's not going to have these diseases, cool. If I can choose to also do things for him that or her that will allow them to thrive in this society, why would I not do that? Ravno says that is eugenics. I don't think that's eugenics. I thought eugenics was looking at people and saying, because you are of this race, you naturally fall into this bucket of ability and disability. But regardless, if it is eugenics, fine. I mean, I don't understand. You're telling me if you were pregnant or your significant other were pregnant and you could basically sit with a doctor and they said, look, here's 58 traits that we can flip a switch or not. What do you want to do, Jaffe? I'd be like, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. I mean, who would not do that?
Well, I find it funny too, all these people that are like, oh, you know, we're supposed to die. Who wants to live forever? But you're only saying that because you know it's impossible right now. But if, like a fucking vampire,
and they
flew
can't
through your
afford it either, Bukaki. That's what it is. Because people in the chat are like making it's like people wouldn't do that. They'd be privileged. It's like a beginning, yes, eventually, but hopefully it becomes standard for everybody. Eugenics is the weeding out of, I didn't say bad genetics. CDR3D says bad genetics, but only allowing the strong and healthy genes to survive. Spartans did this. Yeah, I don't think if you weed people out that are born, that's acceptable. That's horrific. But do I think that if your parents, look, when we got pregnant, me and my ex-wife, because I have on my dad's side a certain lineage of Ashkenazi, I think is what it's called. And so you get tested for Tay-Sachs. And it's like, look, you know, you can have your kid, but we want to run a test to make sure you're not predisposed for it, because it may make you go, this might not be a viable option or a viable pregnancy. How is that different than sitting with a doctor and saying, hey, man, yeah, I want him 6 feet tall if it's a guy. Well, we could choose. Okay, let's have a son, 6 feet tall, really smart, blah, blah, blah. I mean, what's wrong with that? I don't understand. I don't understand.
And that's why I think it'll never go away either, because there will always be a group of people that will be like, no, this is God's plan. We need to have this child the way He designed. I know. I know.
Look, I hate to be a dick, but it's like, really? It's God's. I mean, think about the abdication of responsibility on the part of someone who's like, well, I guess my kid's got cancer. It's God's plan. Fuck you. What a horrible parent.
That's a thing. The singer Metallica grew up they call them Christian scientists, and that's their whole thing is they don't use medicine.
Yeah.
Because they think, well, you don't have enough faith. If you had more faith, then you wouldn't even get sick. And they just watch them fucking die. It's the saddest thing.
Ravno says, my issue is when you mess with genetic markers, there's going to be unforeseen issues. Sure. There will be. There always will be. It's like, do you want to live in a fucking bubble? It's like, if you don't mess with genetic markers, there's going to be unforeseen consequences. Oh shit, my kid grew up stupid. Or my kid grew up and instead of being a genius, he murdered a bunch of people because he didn't quite have the chemical balance needed in his fucking head. Why would you not? I mean, everything's a crapshoot. Everything's a fucking crapshoot. So you may as well, stack the odds in your favor if you can. But, oh no. What somebody in that chat saying? I got to go back to it. It was really interesting to me. Should we use eugenics to eliminate diseases and disabilities? Yeah. Or should we, I don't know if eugenics is the right verb we're talking about it. I'd say CRISPR, or should we accept human diversity and value all lives equally? Why are those things mutually exclusive? Why can't we value diversity and value all lives and still use science to improve our lives? I don't understand. C Money for Life says, why is it so very hard for humanity to accept that evolution is real science when compared to religion? I don't know. I don't know. So Jaffe, you never answered, do I believe in vampires? No. Why would I believe in vampires? Alex S? Who? What? No.
Do you believe in goblins?
Oh, yeah. Sure. Well, yeah. I'm trying to find this person said, here it goes, Mr. K. He says, once again, Jaffe's lack of regard for consequences. Before you freak out at me, I love CRISPR. I'm just pointing out your trait that makes you so different and opposed to many people.
I don't know why. I imagine Mr. K like with a southern accent. Once again, Jaffe's lack of regard for consequences.
He sounds like Kevin Spacey in House of Cards.
Yeah.
He's like, it's not about lack of consequences. It's about going, look, we have to push the boundaries. We have to explore. If you're not comfortable with that, I don't think people should be dragged into it. But what I don't like is when people with their own fear of advancement get in the way of people who are totally fine with it. Right? It's like, hey, I wouldn't trust Elon Musk, but if Johns Hopkins or Cedars-Sinai said, hey, we're doing not Cedars-Sinai Hospital said, we're doing a test with very, awesome doctors and experts and all that, and you can put these chips in your head, and we've done enough tests on animals. I'm not saying I'd be first in line, but I would absolutely try it. Fuck you, Twisted Sith. Jaffe sounding an awful lot like WW2 Nazi scientists and doctors. No, I'm not. I am not. This is a problem. People are, I'm sorry, but I'm not saying we should use CRISPR to edit our children and they should be this. These are the switches you should flip. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that if you can aid what is different? What is different between a parent, a dad working his ass off to send his kid to a great college in order for that kid to have a higher percentage chance of getting a great job? What is different than that than a dad going in with the mother to a medical place that does CRISPR and saying, hey, I want to flip these 3 switches in the DNA so that the kid is able to digest information faster and retain it. One is suddenly awful and against humanity, and the other is something you don't even think about. I don't really understand that. Mask says, should humans transfer their souls into machines? Well, you have to first off believe in a soul, but assuming that there is some kind of consciousness that we can transfer, absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. We're going to do it, and we should do it. Again, I think that is... Jaffe is forcing someone else's desire on an unborn child. What do you think being a parent is? Do you think the kid comes out and you sit there and go, hey, kid, 1 day old, what do we do? What do you want? What experience would you like us to craft for you? They're babies. You have to do something. Whatever you do is going to affect them.
One of those fat little angels with the wings flies around. He's like, I wish that you guys would fuck so I could be born. So they actually ask to be born first, and then you fuck them, and then their soul gets transferred into the baby. I don't know if people knew that.
Are you saying that the Cupids are the babies that get born after they make people fall in love?
Yeah, because, you know, like, it's awesome. Like you said, the kid doesn't ask for consent to be born either, but that's actually a misconception. The little fat angel guys, they do ask to be born, and that's
the cherubs.
Yeah.
I have never heard that, but I'm a fan. I'm a very big fan of that theory.
Yeah,
so
that's widely accepted.
Flying around. Okay. So look. Hello, Travis. Good to see you, buddy. But yeah, I think we're absolutely going to be putting our souls into computers or our consciousness if we can. But where it will start, of course, is AI replicating humanity, replicating actual people. I saw somebody joking about it on the chat, but I told my kids the other night, you know, look, Elon Musk stood on stage last week and said, we are doing AI characters. And, you know, they're going to have personalities and likes and dislikes and backstories and all that stuff. Well, you know, there's already a handful of companies, one of which is called You Only Virtual, that is doing that. They are basically taking your social media footprint and they are turning you into an AI. So when you're dead and gone, your loved ones and whatnot can still kind of talk to you in a weird kind of way. Absolutely. That will have. I would love that. And then if you take it a step further and you think about those photorealistic Lex Fridman, Mark Zuckerberg podcasts and say, it's going to be mixed reality in my own fucking kitchen, and I'm waking up early and I'm making pancakes and I summon the AI bot of my dad and I'm like, hey, I'm making the pancakes you taught me how to make, and we just fucking talk. I'm not an idiot. I know it's not my real dad, but that's pretty fucking cool. It's like living fakeness. It's all living fakeness. It's like you walk through the world thinking that this is real. You walk through, I mean, everything, even if we're not even talking supernatural stuff, even if you're just talking the facade of society that has been, you know, shoved in front of our faces in order to get us to be worker drones, to make people money and all of this shit. You know, it's all, you know, suspect. What's the problem?
I think we have these grand ideas of what's going to happen, but really what's actually going to happen is, you know how old people are getting scammed by people saying like, hey, it's me, your nephew, I'm in jail right now.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. That shit's just going to get more sophisticated. It's actually going to sound like their nephew, and they're going to get scammed out of so much money.
I wonder, when do you cross the threshold, and maybe I'm getting close to it, where you get old enough that you become easily scammable, right? Like, so far, my brain is pretty good at going, oh, fuck you. Like, I got one today that was like, UPS is trying to deliver your package, but we don't have an address on file. Can you give us your... I'm like, fuck you, you know? But there's a point where someone's going to call me and be like, I'm your dead father. Oh, Dad? You know, I mean, I don't know if everyone falls for it. But I hope I can resist it as long as I can.
What's kind of funny is it's kind of come full circle. Like, the boomers don't really understand technology, and now the Zoomers are like so into their phones that they don't really understand how a lot of shit works either.
Yeah, that's true. That's
So
true.
everybody's just gonna be dumb now.
Hang on. Wait a minute. Arathazil says, why is it suspect? It's real life. It's amazing. Well, there's two reasons. One is our perception of reality is simply a simulation anyway. I don't mean simulation theory. I mean the fact that we are molecules banging together is what we really are, right? And so what you think of as real is just a manifestation of the way the molecules are coming together. But more than that, you're not even seeing it in real time. You're seeing it like 2 milliseconds late because you're actually sitting in darkness and your eyes are creating images. All of it's bullshit. But I'm talking more about the societal bullshit, the stuff of like, I mean, do you know, that's why that story about the government, like, how do we dole out this information that aliens may be real? Do you know how easy it would be to just shake the foundation of people in terms of their belief in what is and what is? I mean, look what happens when there's a disaster. Look what happens with 9/11 or COVID or anything that just kind of, shakes you out of the normalcy. A lot of people lose their shit. They cannot handle it. And so we are living in a experience that is intentionally or not curated and cultivated to motivate us to do certain things that powers that be want us to do. And
Well, it's like when people say that something surreal happened to them. What they really mean is something real happened. Because your life becomes so routine and you're just in autopilot mode that when something real bleeds through, it feels strange. It feels odd.
yeah,
And your brain is like, what the hell is this? It's
Right.
real life for a few moments.
people who are trusting end up regretting it, says Ravnos. 52 years old and I have lost default trust in most people. Too many people I trusted ended up being unworthy of it. That's too bad. I know what you mean, but I think fundamentally people are only as trustworthy as, they can feel safe being, and then anything goes if they feel like they're in danger, which I get, but hang on, I'm reading this real quick. Mr. K says, Jaffe, do you want to see something really cool? Turn on the red phone. I don't have the red phone anymore. I have to set it up, basically. Tell me what number you want me to call it from. Any number, make one up. I mean, I will, but I don't have it right now. If you feel that way, like real life is curated, then why have a machine to replicate it? I don't know what you're talking about. How much longer are we going for? Mr. K says, can I call? Yeah, you can call in via Discord. Yeah, that's set up. But you got to get past our screener.
You can call in and I'll decide if you're interesting.
That's right. That's right.
If you don't sound like fucking Kevin, what the fuck's his name? Frank Underwood.
Kevin Spacey, Frank Underwood. That's right.
Then you can't get through.
Yeah, that's right. But what headset do I use? Oh, I don't know. I stole it from my kid's room. It's some $20 Amazon thing. I'm trying to see somebody saying, I think it was Arathazil saying, I want AI to recreate. I don't want AI to recreate the world. I wouldn't mind them recreating people, like virtual versions of people. Fuck you, Mr. K. Mr. K says, okay, don't wrap up yet. I got to make coffee real quick first. That's not my problem. You think my schedule's based around your coffee? Get the fuck on the phone. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Would I invite Sophie the robot? Sure, but I can't. I'm not a big enough streamer to get Sophie the robot on. That'd be cool though. I mean, it's bullshit. She's not, it's not real AI at all. You know what I watched? I had to. I was totally curious. Have you guys watched that show about on HBO Max where it's a dating show, but there's full frontal nudity. Have you seen Bukaki? Have you seen this?
No.
I forget what it's called, but I skimmed through 2 episodes because I was very curious. It starts with just their legs and either their vagina or their penis, and then everything else is like a barrier, different colored barriers, and there's 6 people. And the person comes on and they pick the first person and they say, who do you want to get rid of first? And then you kind of go, okay, I want to get rid of that person. So you get to see what they look like and they walk out and it's like, oh no, oh no. And then they just keep raising those barriers up. So you start to see the midsection and the upper chest, and then you start to see the face. It's the craziest fucking thing. It's not, I mean, it's not saucy enough that I would want to watch it. Like, 'cause it's kind of boring actually. But it is interesting that people are willing to fucking do that. And yeah, there's lots of wangs and vag, as Angry Dad.
That sounds fucking crazy.
It is, I mean, it's kind of nice though that in some ways it's normalizing nudity a little bit.
Have you seen that dating show? I think it's like a YouTube thing where it's just 2 people sitting on a table and there's a button, and when they press the button, the person that presses the button stays and the other person leaves, and then another person comes in. Like it's kind of crazy. Like
based on what?
Like it's just 2 normal people. They just talk. And then, like, sometimes, like, someone will just press the button right away before they even say anything.
Just because they don't like them?
Yeah, basically, like, you're too ugly or some shit.
Oh, show. It's like a dating thing. Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's fucking insane. It's fucking crazy.
Well, my kid showed me that one thing. I know younger people know about it, but I had to find it on YouTube, which was where they hook you up to, like, a lie detector, and then they ask you all these questions, and it like ruined marriages, and did people have affairs, and it was, you can find like all 8 episodes on YouTube, and it's really depressing, that people are just such shit to people, but that's probably why Ravnos is the way he is. He's like, yeah, I told you, don't trust anybody. Do you remember when you were born, says Mask? Sure. No. I remember the first thing I ever remember. I have 2 vivid memories. One is just of a certain color of blue, which I don't know what that is, but that's one of the first things I remember. The second was I was in the backyard of our neighbors going under a bush to get a little rubber ball that had bounce back there. Those are the earliest memories that I have. You remember being 2 years old, says Ravnos, and needing to get stitches. Yeah, interesting. Very, very interesting. Jaffe's best comeback quote of all time. Fuck your coffee. You ain't paying me to give you shit about it. It's true. It's true. Do you doubt your own existence? I don't know what that means. The only thing I'll tell you about that, Mask, is when people say, well, life is exactly what it was before you were born. You came from nothing and you'll go back to nothing. And I always found that very stupid. I'm not saying they're wrong that there's anything after death. There may not be. Or after life, there may not be. But I don't remember a lot about my life before I was about 3. And it doesn't mean it didn't happen. It doesn't mean other people weren't there and they remember it. So, I don't believe just because you don't remember who you were before you were alive means anything. It could mean everything, but it's not a foolproof argument. Would I resurrect my parents if I could, not knowing the potential consequences? Well, I need a little more information. Would they come back and they'd be rotted and decayed, or what do you be more specific? Was there ever a consensus why you and the Gavin and Games community on the Mandela effect with Norm Macdonald? Most people felt, Radical Desi, that it was like 56% said that they felt that Bob Saget died first. And I agree with that. But if you go on the internet, Bob Saget died after Norm Macdonald, which that's crazy to me. That's not how I remember it. Would I create my parents via Meta AI? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Radical Desi says, I thought Bob Saget died first as well. Right. FTW says, didn't he? Nope. According to the internet, maybe the universe that we were in that slipped into this one, perhaps. But in this
I
one...
only knew because I was watching interviews with Bob Saget where he was all sad about
That's
dying.
That's what a lot of people say. They're like, oh, I saw the interviews with Saget, and that's how I knew. But
Yeah.
I never saw those interviews. I remember, like, Norm Macdonald dying seems like that happened 2 months ago, 5 months ago. And Bob Saget dying seemed like it happened a lot, like 2 years ago. But, you know, mayhaps that's not the case. Mr. K says, I thought Bob Saget first too. That's the first ever Mandela effect. Are you going to call in, Mr. K? What's happening? What's happening?
Yeah, what kind of fucking coffee are you making, dude?
I know. Is it like stupid coffee? Yes! Titus Crow says, I wouldn't bring my parents back. You don't live fully when your parents are alive. You know, it's interesting. It's a good point. I mean, your life after your parents go, it is different. It is different. I mean, I mean, obviously, I'm not saying anything wise, but, you know, now that both my parents are gone, it's weird. It's a little weird. I mean, there's the sad stuff that happens at the beginning, but you're right. It is a different experience, but I would still want to bring them back, if I could. Absolutely. Absolutely. You lost your mom 2 years ago, says Serve. Well, have they found her yet? Oh, you mean she died? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I know. I understand.
Jesus.
I understand. I understand. But guys, listen, I mean, look.
I like
man.
how I think about her every day after that.
Well,
You're a
look,
fucking
I'm
asshole.
sorry you lost. I mean, look, we're all going to do it. We're all going to do it. We're not going to lose them unless we go first. Hopefully that won't happen. But look, I mean, all I can tell you, if I don't know, I used to be, you know, I didn't live in the same city as my parents for a very long time. So it wasn't like I saw them every day. But I was terrified of them dying. I was terrified of them dying. And then when they did, I was very, very sad, but I was just so surprised by how it sounds terrible to say it wasn't as bad as I thought. Of course it's bad. They're dead. I miss them. But it didn't like traumatize me the way I assumed it would, which I was grateful for.
Yeah, I think I kind of get it because, like, you know, obviously when my parents go, I'll be pretty devastated. But, you know, like, I don't know, this might be the wrong way to put it, but it's like they might as well be dead because it's not like I see them often. Like, we talk once in a while, and it's nice. I know I have the option, but it's not like when I was a kid and, you know, I was with them every day.
Your parents are going to have to call into the stream to talk to you now. It's like, you never call. I had to call into this stupid fucking show just to talk to Bukaki. Piss on their graves. Listen, Awesome Tatum, let me tell you something. There's a woman in New York who went to visit her. This is crazy. She went to visit her parents' grave in the cemetery, obviously. And I guess the ground was all mulchy and wet and shit. And when she was going to put the flowers on the grave, the ground gave way. She fell into the coffins, cracked her head, or no, her teeth on the gravestone, and she couldn't get out because it was like the dirt collapsed in after her. And she was stuck there for like hours, you know, standing on the corpses of her rotted dead parents, waiting till the cemetery opened again and the guy came and got her out. It's not a fake story. You don't believe me? Fuck you. I don't lie. Look at this shit.
What a fucking loser, dude.
Woman, grave, parents, falls in grave, teeth. I don't fucking know. Fuck you. Let me show you this shit. There you go. The only thing that was a lie was it wasn't New York. It was Long Island. Check this shit out. Don't fucking come at me. I don't lie. Woman sucked into parents' grave, suing Long Island. This happened a handful of years back. Suing the cemetery. A woman visiting her parents' burial plot descended a lot into more than despair. She sank hip deep into their grave. In a real-life horror show, Joanne Cullen bent down to fix a bow on a wreath by the headstone when a sinkhole formed and began to swallow her up. It caused her to fall forward, smash her head on the tombstone, cracking a tooth. She then tried to bounce back, and she started sinking into the ground and grabbed the sides of the tombstone, her lawyer says. The stunned North Belmore, Long Island woman cried out for help, but no one could hear her. Getting sucked into your parents' grave when you go to visit them on a cold December afternoon when the sun's going down, it's terrifying and traumatizing, said the lawyer. So fuck you. Fuck you. Tell me I'm lying.
That's fucking funny as fuck.
You goddamn right it's funny as fuck. Look at these fucking idiots thinking I'm making shit up. I don't fucking lie.
Mr. K is in the waiting room.
Oh, thank God. Okay, bring him in, Bukaki. Wheel his old ass in here. Well, Mr. K, what's going on?
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Whoa, hold on, I gotta mute you.
Oh, do you need to cook something now? Is this Alex S? It sounds like Alex S. Alex S literally was in the Discord before the show started going, when is this thing going to happen? 12 o'clock at midnight? I'm like, bitch, pay some fucking ducats or shut the fuck up. Go ahead, Mr.
That guy's been asking the most ridiculous questions the whole fucking show.
No, he's the most entitled little fucker. But we love you,
We're gonna
Alex.
talk about games.
Right. All right, so
listen. I got you.
Surf says Mr. K is drinking Folgers coffee. All that time to make Folgers. God. Yes.
I make my own cold brew every night.
That's
right?
what we drink in Israeli army. What the country? I don't know why he's Russian, but there you go. All right, go, Mr. K. What's up?
All right, I got two things. Two things I want to tell you. One is about the phone call thing that Bukaki mentioned. It's not that like I could see you falling for one day. It's not even that they call you and they trick you like in some way. What they do is they spoof the phone number of someone you love. They call you and they say that they have them ransom.
Yeah, and they actually have voices they can. Yeah, I've heard it. It's terrifying.
Right. So now that they can clone voices using AI, they can really, really scam you by calling you from your kid's number and sounding like your kid.
Yep.
Anyway, that's one. Two.
That was great.
Is as far as UFOs go.
Yeah.
Have you heard? Okay, so you've heard the extraterrestrial hypothesis, obviously. I assume you've heard interdimensional hypothesis. But have you heard the ultra-terrestrial hypothesis?
The ultra-terrestrial, like people from the future?
That's one possibility for it, but basically extraterrestrial is obvious, interdimensional is obvious. Ultra-terrestrial is that they are somehow endemic to Earth, but they are not something that we normally see, whether that means it's like from the ocean or there's a guy named Jacques Vallée. Have you seen Close Encounters of the Third Kind?
Come on. What kind of question is that?
Okay, so the French scientist in the movie is based on Jacques Vallée, who's like a real scientist.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So he's based on him. He's like foremost UFO expert for like a long time. He worked with J. Allen Hynek, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, so he put out a book called Passport to Magonia several decades ago, and he posited that perhaps what we're seeing as UFOs, as metallic craft in the sky, is the same phenomena that people of the past called fairies or called goblins or called demons or called whatever.
Yeah.
But that it's the whatever the entity or phenomena is, it's the same thing, and it just kind of evolves to mirror where we are at in society. So now with a technological society, it appears technological, but back in the day, it appeared like whether it was in the forest and blah 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 blah. And I think that's fucking interesting. And if you think that's possible, and also Carl Jung, the psychologist, also he kind of put forth that theory originally. So that this is some part of the collective subconscious, kind of, and that this is a real phenomenon, but that it comes from us.
Yeah, I mean, it's so fucking weird and hard to know what's going on that almost any theory is kind of like, yeah, okay, that might work. It's and the more we get video of it, I mean, the only thing that's weird is that this. You have two options. You either have the option that this is a psyops and the government is lying and sending out all of these official people and having the Senate have hearings and all this shit in order to make us go, wow, this is real. Why they go test some shit they don't want China and Russia to know we have. Or, which is hard to believe, well, it's only hard to believe if you believe what the military is saying, which is the way they move, but regardless. or it's something that's real. But we just don't know what it is, and it may be any of those things you just mentioned. I agree. What do you think it is? If you had to guess right now, do you think it's a psyop, or do you think we are actually seeing something that's tangible, but we just don't know what the fuck it is?
Okay, what I think is, and I'm only like 50% on this. I'm not confident in this, but I think that I don't think it's a psyop in the sense that I think that they're fabricating all this stuff. I think that like the witnesses are genuine and they're telling the truth. But I think that the fact that the government is taking it a little more seriously is not a psyop, but more of a distraction in the sense of like inflation is bad and you know what I'm saying, geopolitical situation is not good right now. And I think that they kind of they relish the opportunity to have something to take our mind off of it a little bit and have us focus on it less. And so in that sense, I would say it's a psyop. I do think the witnesses are being genuine, and I just think it comes down to, did they know what they were seeing? Because Commander David Fravor, like, I believe that guy 1,000%.
Yeah, and the woman he was with, the co-pilot or whatever.
Alex Dietrich. So I actually know a guy that was on the Nimitz with them that she was dating at the time. Okay, so I know him. He was on the carrier with them. He flew in a different plane. But anyway, so he said that when they got back, and then the next group went out, and the next group is the one who actually filmed it, and they got back. He said that they all looked at the footage on the carrier, and he swears up and down, and I do believe the guy. He swears up and down that like there was more footage, that the footage was much longer, and that he could clearly see that it was something metallic on the footage, that they had basically more footage. And I 100% believe him, and I know he was on the ship, and he was in the yearbook of the ship, and all, like, that's not even in question. So I don't know. I really don't know, and I think they saw something, but I don't even think the government knows what it is.
What do you think about this, what CR3D says in the chat? He says, David Grouch, the whistleblower, is 100% a CIA plant. Look it up. Not the first time they've done this to discredit legit witnesses. That's a little weird to me, because who's being discredited? If he's a CIA plant, they're not discrediting him. They're trotting him out in order to sell this story. So I understand.
I don't think he's a plant. I do think it's possible that he is a useful idiot of sorts, because he admits himself he's never seen any of this stuff. Everything that he knows, everything he believes, and he'll admit this, is because he's been told and convinced by other people. And without knowing who those people are, it's hard to take it too seriously. And I think it's possible that he was possibly fucked with a little bit. I think that's possible. But I don't think he's intentionally trying to deceive, but I don't think he really knows anything.
Gotcha. All right. Well, thank you, Mr. K. Go choke. Go drink your coffee.
Fuck you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
All right. Well, there you go, folks. That's the show. I may end up rebranding this on the thumbnail, I Love the Weird, because that's pretty much what it was. So if you're like, where did that stream go? It'll be called I Love the Weird in the next hour after I take the dog out. But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you like shows like this? Should I keep doing shows like this? What'd you think of Bukaki? Did he deliver the goods? Or is like, dude, get that fucker out of here. We're also going to work with Bukaki on the next Gabbin' and Games, or one of them this week. So you'll have another chance to, to judge this guy's abilities and whatnot. Fuck you, Addie Pie. So, okay. Surf says, that show is aight. Was it aight? Was it? Asshole. All right, Bukaki, what did you think? What feedback do we have for the show? How do you sub? Says Shouty. What do you mean? There's a button.
There's a money button.
No, that's membership. He just wants to sub.
No, that's how you sub, with the money.
There you go. Oh, 3D saying, he says Grouch is saying these outlandish things like we have aliens, which is discrediting the other two witnesses. No one believes we could shoot down a UFO. Okay. Gotcha. Michael McGee says, he says, it's not as good as the last I Love the Weird. Well, that's just because I don't need to do these this late. I love the idea of doing I Love the Weird shows late, and then I get tired. So I'm not a late night streamer. I love the idea, the romanticization of being a late night streamer, and people are driving and listening to shows and stuff. I love that, but I don't have the energy. I'm a morning guy. Fuck you. Anyway, All right, fellas, be well. Bukaki, are you around this week so we can do a Gabbing Games?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to take the dog out, but I'll hit you up on Discord tomorrow and let's figure out when that's going to be.
All right.
All right, fellas. Be well, everybody. Take it easy, and thanks for watching. Oh, hang on. Mr. K says, I have an idea. How about an I Love the Weird, but it's 3 of us. Each one brings a crazy story.
Or 2.
Are they hot girls that bring the story? Okay.
I just want to hear Mr. K go on, well, here we go again, Jaffe.
Jaffe, now look, son. You keep thinking these are aliens, and what I'm telling you is they're not. These people are going to well, I'll tell you who they are. The people who don't believe in the baby Jesus, and they're going to hell. And God puts them in a little spaceship and says, fly around a little bit and see what happens when I drop you in the kingdom of Satan. And that's what these things, we should bring on somebody like that, like an evangelical person we should bring Melanie Mack on. She hates me. And she's super religious. She's super religious. That would be fun to discuss religion. She said she'd come on, but then I think she thinks I insulted her, which I probably did, let's be honest. But it is what it is. All right. Fellas, be well. Bukaki, thank you, buddy. I'll talk to you tomorrow sometime. And in the meantime, I'm out. I'm going to take the dog out. Be well, buddy. Bye.
Bye-bye.
How do I turn this backing thing off? Bye, everyone. Well, there you go, Bukaki. We're still live, but thank you, man. Let's catch up tomorrow. Are you around?
Yeah, I work the afternoon tomorrow. So.
All right. When I get up, I'll hit you on Discord, and we'll talk about the show and what worked, what didn't work, and all that stuff.
Okay.
All right. See you, dude. Thank you.
See ya.
There we go. Thank you, fellas.